I'm human just like anybody else. I'm not gonna sit here and say I can't get knocked out. I mean, I've been stopped in fights before. I mean, you get hit on that button, you're done. Anybody on any day. But like I said, I mean, I get in 100% shape that I can. So if I do get hit hard, I can come back from it, which has been the case in a couple fights. And I do a lot of realistic training, like sparring. I spar with top level guys in the game. That makes your mentality even stronger when you go into fights. If you're training with great guys every day, you go into your fight like you're ready for anything, And if I get hit hard, I don't show it. That's another thing. When you get experience, you do. You get hit hard, you don't show it. It's like you're playing poker. I'm not going to show my emotions. If you get hurt and you're always showing it, guys are going to know when you're hurt and they're going to jump on you. So, that's one thing I do, is just normal things, from being around fighting, that you pick up.
Forrest is a guy that doesn't really start fighting until you punch him in the face. He's notoriously slow starter. And then once he gets cracked, once he sees his own blood, now it's on. And you better be ready to go the next 4 rounds. There's just guys that are wired that way. I don't know if that's something you can learn or not, if it's just something that innate that you have.
No, I don't have control about my aggressive, and because this is I'm a normal people, and all day with my family, with my friends, with my partners, but I don't know. I'm close with my opponents. I'm nervous. I don't know. And after the guy hit me, I'm more nervous. It's normal. I don't know. This is stay in me, and I'm thinking the same of the another guys. I don't have control with this, because many guys afraid of the punch. The guys hit me. The guys afraid. The guys don't wanna. I think. And for me, it's different. Sometimes the guy hit me. I'm crazy. I wanted to kill the guy. I'm crazy to punch him. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, because many times the guy hit me, I'm little, yeah. And I'm going, the guy hit me again. It's easy for another guy. And sometimes I need to have a control of my aggressive. The guy hit me, I need to wait for it to come back. But sometimes I have control, sometimes no.
I do think that you have to have mental toughness used in the way used offensively, because you have to be willing to get in to hit somebody, to knock somebody out. And when you get close enough to hit somebody, they can hit you back. So if you're not willing to get hit back, not that you want to get hit back, but if you're not willing to get in there and get hit back, then you're not going to be close enough to do the damage that you want to do to knock someone else out. So there has to be toughness there and balls to step in there and play that game,
A lot of guys, don't have a lot of knockouts and stuff that, maybe they're not strong enough, but also maybe they're not really letting it go. You can't be afraid to get hit. You got to be willing to take a shot, to give a shot when you're going for a knockout. A lot of knockout punchers take a lot of shots, in order to deliver the one that knocks somebody out. So, you can't be scared. You got to throw hard and not be worried about covering right up afterwards. You got to be willing to. You got to be willing to take a shot to knock someone out and believe that you ain't going to be knocked out. I think some guys are waiting to get knocked out. I think some guys are fearful. They've been knocked out before, or they're afraid that you're a knockout puncher, and they're kind of just waiting to get knocked out. I think that makes them more susceptible to being knocked out, thinking, I don't want to get knocked out, or I'm afraid to get knocked out. You can't think about it. You can't be focused on it. You can't be waiting for that one shot that's going to put you out. It's going to put you out, even if normally it wouldn't. You might have got hit harder in another fight, you'd be all right. But you're so scared, or you got knocked out before. You're just waiting to get knocked out. You just don't want to get hit with a big shot. I think a lot of it's mental. I think a lot of it's mental. Guys get knocked out and they get afraid to get hit again, and they're waiting to get knocked out. I think that is a lot to do. You hear about guys losing their chin. I don't know if I believe that. I think guys lose their courage.
How old are you? How old are you?
22.
I think you can be mentally tough and actually resist knockouts. I've seen guys in boxing who had knockouts early in their career where it looks like later on they just get that mentality, you're not going to knock me out. And they kind of grit their teeth and, you know, bite down on that mouthpiece maybe a little harder and, you know, absorb a little bit more punishment. But the thing is this, once you get a concussion, it's easier to sustain another one. And so that's why guys who, we call it getting your trigger pulled, once it happens, it's easier to have it happen again, and that's a dangerous sign, and whether in any combative sport. And that's something you have to look at. If you look at Roy Jones when he lost to Antonio Tarver and the way he was knocked out, he came back, a lot of people felt too quickly for his next fight and got knocked out again. And because they felt like, you know what, his brain and his psyche, because there was a guy who had never been knocked out on top of the world, had been injured, and he didn't give it you know, enough time to kind of fully heal. He was fighting again 6 or 7 months later, and all of a sudden, here we go again.
Yeah, without a doubt. Confidence, mental toughness definitely helps a fighter. Taking blows, not getting knocked out, you know. Refusing to be hurt, you know. Every time I go in there, I tell myself, the whole training camp, I refuse to be hurt. I refuse to go down, you know. No matter how bad it is, I'll fight it off. You know, you hit with a big shot, you see the world's cave in, you just bite down, you know, you'll go black if you let it. You just gotta bite down on a mouthpiece and bite it back open and stay alive. Don't give in. You know, it's easy, especially when you're tired, to just let it close, you know, but if you bite down and you want it bad enough, I think you can fight through it. I think you can definitely fight through it. I think if you're afraid, you've been knocked out before, I think you just let it close up, it swallows you up. But I think, you know, I think it's mental. If you just refuse to be hurt.
See, one thing about you in life, when you start talking about risking something, either you made your mind up that the consequences you're gonna take for it, or you done made your mind up and say, man, this shit ain't even worth it. That's why when somebody getting their ass whooped, they give up, fuck it. Fuck it, I'm gonna give up. I can't beat them motherfucker no way. I try.
And it's just learning the art, you know. The biggest thing for jiu-jitsu is learning to tap, right? A lot of people don't. They try to resist, breaks. You gotta know your body's limitations, and then once you understand how to tap, then you go, okay, now I can start resisting a little bit. How much can I really handle before the lights start dimming, and then I tap and then it comes back up again. Okay, I went that far, now I can go a little farther. Same thing with when you're doing kickboxing. You get hit, okay, maybe I should stop a little bit. Okay, I recovered. Now the next time I get hit, let's still go. Because now I have to fight out of that feeling. And then a little more, and then you get to the point where even though you get hit, you don't show it. And then it works the opposite for the guy, because now he can't get the things that he can't get that early warning signal that you're hurt. So now it's harder for him to knock you out. And you have more chances to avoid that knockout because you didn't give him the bright target lights. Bing, oh, bing, 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 knock him out. But it goes bing and he's still like this, then you're like, oh, maybe it worked, maybe it didn't. So am I going to be more aggressive, or am I going to calm down and look for another spot? So it really becomes a thinking game. But in order for it to be at that level, everything has to be conditioned, the mind, the body, the spirit.
Yeah, you know, the poker face, not show it, you know. A lot of guys smile when they get hit hard. I've done that before. And actually that worked against me once. Like I hit real hard with a guy once, and he said, I smiled at him so he knew I was hurt. So I'm not going to do that as much anymore. I mean, if I'm hurt, I'm not going to smile. I'm just going to put the poker face on, because it showed weakness. I mean, he read it. Where maybe if I didn't make a face, he wouldn't have known I was hurt. Whereas maybe if it doesn't hurt at all, then you can smile if it really didn't hurt at all. Or probably better to keep a poker face. I mean, that's what I'm learning. Or always keep a smile so it doesn't change. You know, that's a poker face too. But you know, whatever it is, you don't want to show him. I mean, maybe you can trick him, but maybe you can't. You don't want to show him. And then he had it affect, kick me in the leg, and I don't do nothing about it. You know, it's whatever. Probably not gonna go there again. If I limp or I just show that it hurt, you're gonna go back there. You know, same thing with a body shot or anything else. Because you know, if you kick me in the leg, there's a risk of me punching you in the face. You know, kick me in the leg and I'm trying to punch you in the face. If you kick me in the leg and hurt me, well, you'll take that chance again because, you know, maybe not too many more, you'll get me out of there, you know? And when you're hurt, you're gonna throw as hard, you know? It's like I said before, guys get knocked out there, they're tentative. You kick a guy in the leg real hard, he's tentative, hit him in the body real hard, doesn't want to get hit in the body anymore. He's just worried about protecting his body, so he ain't gonna throw back at you, you know? He's not gonna throw back at you hard a lot of times. Some guys might, but most of the time they're not. They're just gonna try to protect their guts.
Well, because number one, it's a weak point. Number two, he just showed you that he's weak there. And so, you chase that. Because fighters, when you're in the arena, you don't want to be showing any type of weakness. So, any little weakness that your opponent shows you, you want to take advantage of that. Because it just empowers the other person. When I see that, and let's say the fight's going on, we're in the third round, and you're pretty even to this point. But as soon as I catch this guy, and he's showing me that he's hurting to their side, or he's showing me that he's tired, that empowers me to get stronger, and empowers me to keep pushing myself to those limits. So you don't want to show that, because as soon as you show that, and as soon as you empower your opponent, it's going to be a long, long night.
You get hurt and put in a situation where you're in an adverse moment. If you don't have the mental toughness to kind of suck it up and work through it, you're going to crumble. And you'll see that in a lot of fighters where they can be broken is the word. If you can break a person, if they have quit in them and they're hurt, you jump on them, you got a chance to pounce them. But you have your fighters like Randy Couture where he's not going to break. You can hurt him, he could be on Queer Street, he could be out for a moment, but he's got that mental toughness, that constitution inside where he's just going to fight through it and fight through it. And guys like that, you basically got to kill to get them out of there because they're not going to quit. Guys like that know how to fight when they're hurt and can weather the storm. And, because there's a situation, the great fighters have been hurt several times in a fight and they just weather the storm and fight through it. They got that mental toughness. And I think that mental toughness goes a long way because in a hard fight, when you're fighting a good guy, you're going to get hurt. That's just part of the game. And if you don't have that intestinal fortitude to fight through that, you're going to be a contender, not a champion.
Yeah, I think mental toughness within what you do as a training preparation. One of my good trainers back in Arizona always taught me, we trained out in the heat, because there was times where I had to cut a lot of weight, so we trained in the heat with sauna suits, and it just made me that much stronger and tougher, like mentally and physically. I knew that in the ring, I don't care how hard you hit me, you're not knocking me out. I'm not going to quit. It's just a big mental, physical thing, big part of why you don't get knocked out too. In boxing, MMA is a little different because you got little gloves, so any little punch can, if you're not expecting it, it could catch you and it's going to hurt you. I mean, I know that from an 8-ounce glove, it hurts, and now these guys that are, the smallest guy, 55, can hit hard and you can hit you with the 4-ounce glove. You better be mentally, physically ready to take that shot and be well trained for it, And a lot of people say, I can go in there and do it. I say, no, it takes years and years of preparation to do what these guys do. I got me and Tyson, what I do with him is I take him to the gym and sit in the sauna 30 minutes, and then go hit the treadmill for 2 miles, 3 miles, whatever it's going to be, for the day. And that right there is just, you're already broken down from the heat. You get in the treadmill, you don't want to do it, but it's mentally breaking your mind down where it's going to make you mentally stronger. There's different ways to make you stronger mentally. That's one of my ways that I learned, and it completely made me a tougher person within within me. You know, it's like, all right, however, I don't care how tired I am, as long as I keep my hands up and keep pushing myself to go forward, you're gonna make that guy break. You know, and that's how I've done it my whole life.
When I also kind of use that as a mental thing, where if I'm feeling pain, I won't show it. And I think little things like that, when I'm in trouble in the arena, in the ring, that naturally triggers in my mind to go into that mental strength of, no, that didn't hurt, no, I can do this, I can move on, and so on. And okay, I'm okay, you know what I mean? So I think, like I said earlier, you know, martial arts is my life, and so little things that I do in life that has got nothing to do with being in the ring or in training, I mentally challenge myself to be stronger, and part of that comes obviously comes from the game, but when I'm in there, and without having to think about it, it naturally just applies to that particular situation at that point in time. I mean, for me, everything in life is about challenges, about, you know, moving on and being better, and challenging yourself mentally. And so little things outside of the ring will naturally, you know, I will naturally bring that into the training or to the ring, because, you know, I've mentally trained myself to do that naturally. So then when the time comes that it needs to be applied, I think then it automatically switches over.
I don't think it necessarily has to happen at a young age. It helps to happen at a young age because you grow up. I think you grow up having a certain theory of mental toughness, and that is basically to push your body to a level that it's never been before, and then when you get to that level, push it even more. You know, break down the barriers of you know, what you came to before, get to that level, and then break down that barrier and go even further. And it's with everything. It's, you know, your conditioning, your stand-up, your jits, your everything. So, yeah, I mean, I think you can train that for sure.
And everybody has this barrier. I learned that in wrestling. You could break people. Something Gray and I share in wrestling is we were guys that our style was very physical and very aggressive, and try to set a pace physically that not a lot of guys could keep. And at some point, you're willing to go further than they can go, and they break. And you can almost feel it. You can hear it when somebody breaks. When I fought Vitor Belfort the first time, he broke. It wasn't that I knocked him out. I hit him with a bunch of punches, but I didn't like hit him and knock him out. And I've never, in any fight that I've ever been in, knocked anybody out. Tim Sylvia knocking him down in the first 10 seconds of the fight, that's the closest I've ever come to a knockout. But I broke lots of guys, just pushed them harder. In some ways, Gonzaga broke. You know, I think I was mentally tougher. I pushed him, made him work harder than he wanted to work, or he thought he was going to have to work to win that fight. And he broke. And so I'm not sure. I think through the training process and learning that about myself, you know, I had coaches that pushed me, that put me in certain situations, had a bunch of guys coming in on me where they were fresh and I had to recover and survive. And you know, the first time you get to that point where you're just so tired you can't go anymore. And then the next week they make you do it again. And you know, you learn, oh, I only made it 9 minutes last time. Now this time I made it 12 minutes. And the next time I made it 16 minutes. Our grapple coaches would come in on certain days and say, okay, it's a grind match today. 90 minutes, find your partner. And they started the clock, and you went 90 minutes straight. One match, one guy, no breaks, no rest, no water, no nothing. Straight, a grind match. I would see guys break all the time. They would actually start crying. Guys would hit that wall where they just couldn't go anymore, and their partner was still had energy, was still going, was being, and they would break. They would actually start crying on the mat because they wanted to go more, but they just couldn't go more. So I think that comes from training. You learn to push that barrier back and persevere and push through that, and come back and do it again. I think that's where the guy that can experience that, find that barrier where he just can't go anymore, but then is willing to come back and go again the next week or the next time you're called on by a coach or somebody to do that. That creates a mental toughness. I know I learned it in wrestling.
I mean, the reason why I say that it helps at a young age, I mean, I don't think that a guy that's 22 per se can't learn to be mentally tough. I'm sure that he starts off with a certain level of mental toughness, but to train that, to put himself in a different bracket of mental toughness, I think that he can train that for sure. I think that's something you push yourself, you push your body in so many different ways, whether it be in whatever, stand-up, jits, wrestling, whatever. You push your body to a level of where it was ready to give up before, and once you get to that level, you push even more and break through that barrier. That's my theory on mental toughness.
I think the mental toughness that I developed is through training and through wrestling, the sport of wrestling. Again, I think I had coaches that put me in situations. I was in a lot of high-level matches that were pressure cookers in front of a lot of people where a lot of things were riding, whether it be making the team or winning the tournament or winning the medal, or getting a chance to advance in the round or going home. I mean, that's basically what was on the line. It was never a lot about financial reward. Wrestling was one of those sports where we didn't get a lot of that, so it wasn't really about money, but it was about achieving that goal you had set. You trained hard to win that tournament, and you had to wrestle 4, 5, 6 times to win. And you let down one of those matches and lose, and you're out. You can't win. You're done. It's a lot of pressure. No margin for error. And I think through the training process and getting ready for those matches and getting ready for those tournaments, the national and the international level, you learn a mental toughness. I think having coaches that pushed me, did shark bait drills and fresh guys rotating in on me and basically try to find out where your breaking point was, try to push you as far as they could push you. And I think through that process I knew the guys I was going to face in that tournament were doing that, and they weren't going to be able to go as far as I go. They hadn't done those things. At least that's what I believed. And that created a confidence and I think a mental toughness that I could step onto that mat or step into that cage, set a pace and intensity that not a lot of other guys were going to be able to match.
When he touches my head to the floor, I have no. You gotta pass out. Yeah, I have to tap. Even when my head's up a little bit, he puts so much pressure on the back of my head. If he just scoots that hip out, I go every time. Can't stop it.
You're not, you can't make me stop. I won't stop. You can't make me stop. I won't stop. I'm the champ.
We're so ready, man. We train so hard. Nobody gonna stop us. So that's it.
You know, being a fighter, you have to believe. You have to believe you know how to do this. That's what makes it easy. It makes it easy. gotta trick the mind. Knockouts come unexpected, or you can trick the mind. Trick the mind ain't doing nothing but setting the guy up. You set him up. Say, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna jab him to the body. Bam. I'm gonna jab him to the body. Bam. I tell you, I'm gonna jab you to the body. I ain't go to the body. The dude go like this. I said, bam. He never expected, cause he was thinking about how he gonna get hit with the body shot. So you have to trick the mind. That's how knockouts come. That's what boxing is. You see guys, they say, okay, well the guy, he throw a jab all the time. All right. Guy throw a jab all the time. Your job is to figure out how to take the jab from him. How to take, okay, he throw a jab all the time, so he throw a jab, I'm gonna step over here and boom. I'm gonna step over here and I'm gonna pull back. I throw the jab, boom, boom. Or I pull the jab down, boom, boom, boom. See, he don't know what I'm thinking. He don't really know what I know. But that's how knockouts come. Knockouts come because they're unexpectedly.
Using feints, using techniques that you can use to throw your opponent off. You know, you say you got your opponent and he has his hands up in a certain way. You know, you can throw a feint or a fake to see what he's going to do, to see what his reaction is, which kind of should give you some information for your next technique or next punch. When you throw a feint or a fake, it's not just to throw it randomly for the heck of it to look cool. It's because you're trying to see what he's going to do when you do that position. That should give you intel for your next technique you're going to throw or when you're planning on throwing in the future. So I'd say that you want to do things like feint, you want to do things like fake, you want to put your hand out there, jab your hand out a little bit, see his distance, check that you're timing up, see what kind of reactions he does to certain techniques that you do, so that you know if I do that again, I'm going to catch him with a certain technique. You know, if I know that if I throw a leg kick that I see your hands drop, that means a lot to me. Okay, his hands drop when I throw that leg kick, not just to defend, but he actually drops his hands. So this next time I'll throw maybe another leg kick, make sure he does it, and the third time I'll fake it there and come up top with it, and his hands are still down from the low leg hit, and he gets hit in the head and gets hopefully knocked out. So basically, it's just being creative, you know, with your ranges, with your feinting, with your movement, so you're not predictable.
A knockout is maybe to the body is like a knockout you to the body is a knockout you can force, you know, but to the head is like playing, and it's coming out, you know. You cannot not force a knockout. Then you make mistakes. You're like too tight. No. To the body, you can force a knockout, like fake, whang, or the low kick, you know, fake step to left and kick the right low kick, whang, so you can knock out somebody, or maybe a kick, you know, a high kick. But the boxing, you know, you have to time and do it like with the flow. Just playing da-da-da-da-da, and knockout will come automatically. And it looks like you get a kick, like a kick. So you look like this, and you block it, but bang, and it's going right in his gut. If this movement is too difficult, just step a little bit back and just make it straight. It looks like if I make this movement, looks like a kick again, but instead I make it high and make punch. It's over, man. It's knockout. It's total knockout. Yeah. Just make a turn of your hand, because a lot of people kick like this. So if you do like this, if you kick like this, like, that's a knockout.
All part of the same
motion. Yes. And probably if he kicks like really hard, he's like bang right into it.
Falls forward, yeah.
What more I would like to do, that is I think normal boxing. But if you throw a right punch, like
you did it a couple times.
Yeah. Always, I like.
Yeah.
Because they don't expect it.
Yeah.
Expect it to come.
I'll tell you a couple of those in that section.
So the trick is to deliver that knockout punch at the moment they don't expect it, and that's the difficult part. You need to set up. That's where setups come in place. The better the setup, the better the knockout. Knockouts to the body. You want to hit somebody when he's breathing in, because the moment he's breathing in, he cannot flex his abs. That means he's going to be weak there. That's the moment you got to hit him there. So that's why most of the time when people hit, they make that blowing sound. They do that the moment they hit because they're unprotected. When they blow out, with the making that motion, you automatically flex your abs. That's why your abs are hard. But the moment you pull back, you're breathing in. You can use that against your opponent. So that when you move backwards and then you come with your attacks, with the moment you breathe in and then you attack the body, that's where the money shot is. I like to set up liver shots with a left hook to the head, really hard, and then I keep looking high to their head, and then I go low with the body shot. They think that I'm loading up again for the head, and they're not going to take the risk that it's going to be a body shot. Because if you look them in the eyes and you hit as hard as you can and you load up for a second one, nobody's going to drop his defense. They're going to keep their defense up. And there's your body shot. It goes to the liver. They don't expect it. They're not ready for it. Now to the head, when they don't expect it, of course, again, that's the best moment to hit somebody. Because his body's not ready for the impact. His mind is not ready for the impact. He cannot brace himself for the impact, or he cannot flow with the punch for the impact. If I'm standing and talking to you and suddenly somebody hits me from the back, most of the time that results in a knockout. So to set that up, well, you got to give him a whole set of punch and kick combinations in order to camouflage that knockout punch, and then you're going to go upstairs and come with a knockout punch. Sometimes it's kind of cool, you know, you can put somebody in a clinch and hold him close to you. Now you're blinding his right eye. You see, from here suddenly when you move backwards and you come with a punch, that's a very underestimated punch, but it's very effective because again, he can't see it coming. On the ground, you can cross-face somebody when you're in the side mount, and you cross-face him to the side just like this. As you can see, my view is blocked right now. Most of the time I hit under here, so with the cross-face to the side, and then I hit underneath on the jaw, because obviously they can't see that punch coming. They're not going to be ready. Their body's not going to be ready for impact.
That's why I say I want you sometimes to go in here, because he's gonna want to come back. If he comes back, baits here. Now he comes back here, okay. Right? Or just going. If he thinks he's gonna lean back on this, now he throws his cross back at you. Your hook is gonna be there. That's why we're coming back to that body hook all the time.
Yeah, because those guys don't go in those body hooks.
Not at all. Nobody does.
Right.
Nobody does. And it's a distance thing. Here. And if you want, jab with them and then that up, down, left, right? Start working it on people in the class. How I get somebody to throw a cross at me, because I'll throw crosses instead of jabs at them.
Right.
And it just naturally is going to make you want to cross at me. Sure. So you use that against him. I'm here, now he wants to cross at me. Boom, bang, boom. Right?
Okay.
You got to learn to bait him before he baits you.
Okay.
I don't know if I will see opportunity. I guess you have to set up your favorite punch. It's for me. I guess it's like overhand right or right uppercut, and that's why I try to set up my right hand with my jabs or some kicks, in MMA. And if I will see opportunity, it's like flash. Honestly, I don't even think about right now I have to punch him. It's like it's going. It's usually I practice a lot for my favorite combinations and 3-4-5 punch combinations, and it's just like automatically it's going. I don't know. When I'm fighting, when I fight and I do what I have to do, and it's like this, like click. That's it.
So how I knocked Ben Russell out on July 19th on the first affliction card, I set up my right hand with jab, right hand. I did step and left hook, so it's basic and simple, but it's worked for me. I got victory through this combination. So jab, back hand, right uppercut, left hook, and left hook again.
And I have a sparring session with my sparring partners in boxing gym, and Mike Garcia and Freddie Royce all the time. That, for example, right hand. I guess when they're working in my corner, if I don't see something, they can see. And they said, for example, right hand. If I hear this, I throw out right hand. I guess it makes sense because first of all my trainers, they have a great fighting and training experience, and I just believe them, you know. I don't know. It's probably simple. You have to like do what you have to do, and it's like you going if every day you practice for your favorite combinations. For example, before the fight against Ben Rosswell with Mike Garcia, I used to train a lot, like jab, 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 right hand, step on my right uppercut, and left hook. You know, I don't even remember that I did this, but when I watch after the fight, I watch a DVD with my fight, and I saw this. Yeah, it's exactly what I did before the fight, and after the fight against Roy Nelson, I remember Freddie Roach. He told me, set up your right hand with your left jab, like give him some pressure, and like I check again. I watch my fight on DVD after the fight, and I see like jab, jab, and straight right hand, right on his chin. It makes sense, you know. All my opponents, they were tough fighters. They were tough opponents. You know, you can't just throw out just right hand, like, because you know he's not punching band too, so you have to like kind of move like jab in the body, jab, maybe some kick in MMA, you know. So I didn't use the kicks, and I just in beginning and round I gave some pressure to Ben Rothwell, and I just pressed jab, right hand, step, right uppercut, left hook, step again, left hook again. So you know, it's how I explain my trainers to me what I have to do.
You know, as far as stuff you're going to want to do to, you know, throw people off their game is maybe fake shots, maybe shoot, you know, maybe throw low kicks and then come high. That's something St. Pierre does. He throws a lot of low kicks, starts to hurt people with a low kick, and then he comes high all of a sudden, you know. It's just, there's a ton of different things, you know, everybody's got their own thing. You know, my thing is I like to kick at the legs, kind of get you thinking about that, and then throw hard to the chin.
So I'm going to use the jab to hide my step, and I'm just going to spring off, and then I'm going to throw a good right. So it's real simple. Instead of just stepping over here, I'm just going to flick it up. And blinds you. Right? I just want a little distraction just to keep them occupied. It's just, you know, it's just like me and McGarrett kept doing each other, trying to get the guy to do something, react. You know, instead of just doing something.
And like the guy I just fought, the guy, he just kicks non-stop. But he landed a few kicks. What is going to happen in a fight? You know, you're going to get caught with some. But if you can eliminate 90% of those punches or kicks, then it's good for you to last the game a lot longer in the fight, I mean. Yeah. So as soon as you got, doesn't matter who you spot, tall, shorter, yeah. This is your range. Put your hand out, and then you're here. See, and then you just do this. See, like when you step in, bang. Step back out, bang, bang. See what I mean?
Because
so
yeah,
exactly. Choose that, because this is your territory right here. Here. So it's right there. So as soon as that, bang. You see what I mean? So then you work from there. But if you find your distance here, there's no problem, because anything they throw, you're going to see.
One at a time.
Yeah.
Reaction.
And then it allows you to react, and then you can counter on top of that.
I think it's something that I developed, and it comes with a style. Strategically, I know that everybody's worried I'm going to take them down. As a wrestler, they come into a fight. So that creates a dimension that makes my striking effective. If I was just in a pure boxing situation where that threat of a takedown or that other dimension was gone, then my boxing is probably mediocre. You know, it's still effective, it's okay, but it's not going to be nearly as effective as if I can create that little threat and that little fake and that little head bob where you're not sure whether I'm going to shoot and take you down or close the distance and clinch with you, or am I going to come up from that and throw a combination, throw a punch, or a couple punches. And I think that those dimensions is what makes my striking, and strategically what I try to do is keep a guy guessing. Which am I going to do? That's what worked against Tim. The guy would come out and try to take him down right away. And I ended up hitting him with that big punch, and then from then on, that set the whole tempo of the fight. He wasn't sure if I was going to punch him or shoot. And so, I've taken enough guys down now that they know that if I get on top of them, it's hard to get me off of them, and they end up getting, they lose the round, they end up taking a lot of punishment from that bottom position. And so that's not some place they want to be, and so it's always in the back of their head. And so strategically, I think that style, and kind of creating that little lower stance and those fakes, and threatening that takedown all the time, and then using that to launch punching combinations and close the distance has made my striking more effective. And then couple that with learning to mechanically throw better combinations and better punches and move my head and protect myself when I'm in that range where I can get hit. All works together. Ultimately, I think the better my striking is, the easier it is for me to use my wrestling, which is my strength and my background. Having that wrestling as a strength and something I've relied on in my fighting style has made my punching and my boxing, kickboxing more effective, because they don't know which one's coming at them.
The inside kick, overhand right, left hook. That same combination that caught Tim at the beginning. Yep. Basically, after watching tape of Tim, he locks his front knee out when he throws his jab. So it felt like he was going to break his balance if he hit him with that left inside kick. And also, he's tall. By breaking his balance, it brings his head down. So as this foot comes down, the right hand, left hook. He wasn't there for the left hook. So he came out and I went, oh. But he wasn't there. The right hand caught him and knocked him over.
Your transition is going to be your boxing to your wrestling, back to your boxing. If you stand up too big, you have nothing. Now you're waiting for him to attack you. If you stay here, you're always in attack mode. They're always going to be concerned about your wrestling. And that still gives you a chance to get your hands off. You can change and shoot, change your level, come back up with shots if you want to. Then you'll always dictate where you want to take the fight instead of when you back out and you back up big, you're allowing them now to dictate where they want to fight together.
It's almost like you're out there playing chess or checkers, and when you're setting them up, you're not thinking one jump, you're thinking two or three ahead of you. So, I guess it's years and years of experience how to set people up. You're setting someone up to knock them out, lure them in, bait them, and then you're able to catch them with that big blow. Maybe if you get them thinking that you're going to punch, you come with a hook. Maybe if you fake with a jab, like I hit him with a spinning back fist, had him hurt. I just didn't jump on him. It's just, you get him thinking one thing and you catch him with another. And you come from all different angles. For me, I come from angles. I'm deceptive. I hit hard. So, it's just a matter of, setting the person up. If he threw a jab at me, while he's throwing the jab, I might come over the top, hit him here. If he's throwing the jab, I might knock it down, come here. Right? He could throw a jab here. I could come over the top, hook here. So there's different ways.
So that there was basically me counting off Doug's jab. And we'll show you in slow motion where the jab's going to come. I'm slipping on the outside of his jab with my hands up. And from here I come back with an overhand right, which then creates that opening, which his head's going to turn this way. And then the left hook is going to bring his head back this way. Obviously, I don't know if anybody can stand that, but not particularly just for me, but also whoever throws that combination that lands on the button. Especially when jab, he's slipping, flush, right hand, as you saw Doug's head pivot to the left, if you can call it pivot, and then the left hook will bring, which is going to bring his head this way around. 99.9%, if that hits, it lights out. I mean, any punch could knock somebody out. That's been proven a million times over in the fight game, whether it be boxing, whether it be kickboxing, whether it be mixed martial arts, karate, taekwondo, you name it, doesn't matter. So any combination, for example, I could be just here, and Doug fires that straight right, and it lands right there. That's the end of the fight. That's going to be a knockout. So it doesn't have to be a combination as such. Sometimes just getting that one good shot inside is going to create that knockout. But as they say in any full contact sport, everybody will tell you that it's the punch that you don't see that's going to knock you out. And that's so true because I've experienced that.
It's more eyes, you know, seeing the punches come. If, you know, chin's down, you're seeing the punches come, they're not going to hit as much. It's always the one you don't see coming, turning your head, that's going to hurt you, it's going to knock you out. Like I always thought that the Thais had really good chins, you know, because they eat some good punches, but you know, they do a lot of drills like splashing water on their face, and since they're a little kid, they're trained not to flinch. Keep their chin down, really train not to flinch, so they see a lot of the shots coming. So
the punch that you don't see coming is because of this. So your eyes flinched because you saw it coming. Your eyes saw it. Your body had it. Your body has a built-in reaction. So when it sees something come at your face, it automatically closes its eyes because your eyes are vulnerable. And at that time, your body was ready for something. So when you see a punch coming and you see it and it hits you, your body has a little reaction in there that says, "Look out, man! Something's coming." But if you duck your head and you don't see something coming and you're moving, or you get turned away from your opponent and you get hit while you're not looking, your body didn't see that punch coming and it didn't get that one brief second, like a millisecond of, oh shit. Instead it just got you when you were completely asleep. The one you don't see is the one that will put you down because your body wasn't completely ready for it. It's built in everybody. An infant will do it. You go like this at a little baby, it'll do this. It's built into us. It's a built-in self-protection mechanism.
well, it's a shot. Even there, you're thinking, even the fight, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna land my right hand. I'm gonna land my right hand. Oh, all of a sudden, boom! You know, something comes and turns your head, and your mind's focused on landing your right. There is a difference between that and like, oh shit, I'm gonna get hit. Boom! I'm able to eat it and kind of brace myself and see it coming. And then too, when you do see the punch come and brace yourself, it's not going to have the same effect on turning your head like that. You see a lot of the punches the guys don't see coming, have no idea come, hit in that spot and really get that good head turn. And that's what shuts off the consciousness. So. Another reason for a big knockout is that you're going to throw your punch and the guy beats you to it. So you got all your weight and everything going forward. Just like if a pitcher were to throw a fastball right down the middle, you barely have to swing and you'll send that ball pretty far. Rather than a big lazy lob ball, swing as hard as you can, it doesn't go as far. When the guy's traveling forward into your punch, you don't have to hit him nearly as hard than if the guy sees it coming, he's able to move back a little bit and take some of that power off. I know if you boxing fans, Joe Louis Rocky Marciano versus Jersey Joe Walcott. Walcott rolled up with his right hand, he stepped in, and Marciano clipped him on the way in. Like all Walcott's weight was going right into that punch, and he was out for like 15 minutes or something crazy like that.
Yeah, the punch that usually takes most people out is one they don't see coming. And that's why the counter punch is an effective knockout, because they're not really looking to get hit, they're looking to hit you. And again, that's why the hook is generally one of the better knockout punches. Generally, the hook is not as powerful as your cross, but they see the cross coming. The cross is coming straight at you. They can kind of register the shot. Whereas the hook, if I'm coming here, boom, you didn't see it come in the camera until the very last second. So generally, the brain doesn't have a chance to register that they're going to get hit.
Definitely, almost every fighter will agree with this. It's that punch out of nowhere you don't even see, and next thing you know, you wake up. You know, you have really no time to kind of prepare for that. And I mean, there's definitely got to be some truth to that, because I'll contest to that. And I know a lot of other, I've seen, classic boxing from the 50s where the guys say the same thing. So it's one of those old noble truths of the fight game. Punch you don't see coming hurts the most. And, it's true.
That was nice that you now know when you're stepping into your shot, but you pull out. Now when you're sparring a tall guy, when you pull out, that guy follows you, you're gonna get hit. Yeah. So rather than pulling out, so you bang, 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 step here. Then you step out. You did that once, see what I mean? Yeah. So you can here, side, step out. Then you're back into your stance. Rather than go da 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 and then pull here, because then you're gonna get caught. With you, because you're tall, you're doing this.
You don't need to drop that low for your uppercut, because you can just be here. There you go. See? And it's just here. Instead of dropping here, and because you're going to get hit.
Right.
Because then for a shorter guy, all he has to do is drop it.
And I'm slow,
yeah,
too.
Yeah.
I'm already slow.
Right. So all you got to do is here. When you say, roll, see that? Bang, bang, sure.
Yeah, I mean, something you want to do, you know, is obviously punch people when they don't see it coming. Those are the best ones. You try and cut angles, you know, just throw combinations, hit the guy with something, hit him the other way with something, you know. If you can get a guy reacting to one punch, hit him with something else. And, you know, I'm not like a super power puncher guy, so what I've tried to do is just be more accurate, you know, hit people on the button. See how that works out for me.
I'm thinking, I know because now I'm waiting for the knockout. I don't go and start to beat the guy. I go and put one punch and waiting and another, and I'm waiting for the exact moment for to beat my opponent. I know going too much, thinking I know now I need to wait a little bit for to give the best shot.
It's so important for you to keep your composure. So important. Like, as soon as they go wild, this is where you stay. Because as they're going wild, you're gonna start seeing opportunities for you. But if you stay and you go wild with them, you're not gonna see those opportunities. So it's so important for you to stay, keep your composure, stay calm. Ta, wake up that. You know what I mean? And then, roll, bang, bang, when the opportunity arises.
When they're throwing hard combinations at you, trying to hurt you, they're not in a relaxed state, but you can knock someone out during that moment. So it's more like you got them in a state where they're not thinking about getting hit, or they're not thinking defensively. If they're just totally calm and relaxed, yeah, they're in a relaxed state, and you catch them, you know, at the right time. If it's during a punch or a technique or a combination of theirs thrown at you, they're thinking so much about hitting you or hurting you that they're not thinking about themselves and having their chin down, having, you know, certain things they need to do. If you notice a lot of guys you'll see fight, when they punch, their chin starts coming up when they throw punches, you know, because they're so busy trying to get into you. That's not technically correct, and that happens a lot, and that's when they're vulnerable.
Because when you're trying to knock somebody out, it's like you're loading up, and, you know, your opponent sees, you know, all your muscles and stuff tensing up, so he knows where you're going to throw from, and, you know, you're opening your arms up and you're throwing wide, you know, and he's just seeing it and he could block, you know, whereas, you know, when you're throwing combinations and you're putting stuff together, you're kind of hiding those punches. So say you're throwing you want to throw a hard hook to hit him and try to hurt him with a hook. Before you throw the hook, you throw a 1-2, you know, a jab cross, and then you follow with the hook. Instead of just trying to load that hook up, boom, and throw that when he could probably see that coming and just block that, you know? So maybe he'll block that first jab cross, and then that hook will get in.
One thing I like to do when I'm fighting or sparring is trick my opponent into making a move so I could see what he's doing, basically, to counter-offer. And one way I'll do that is I use a lot of feints. A feint is just like a jerky movement. It's like kind of a fake. They call it feint in like boxing or Muay Thai kickboxing. So it's basically, like I said, just to get him thinking I'm gonna do something, seeing his reaction, and then I'm reacting off of that, you know. And I don't even have to really do nothing off of that. I just want to see what he does. If I want to see, you know, if he's gonna come back off it, what he likes to do. You know, it's definitely just, it's kind of like an icebreaker, you know. And also it keeps him thinking. The more you have your opponent thinking, the less he's comfortable, and that makes it possible for me to get off my strikes. You know, so when I'm out there, he's in his stance, and I'll just do kind of like jerky movements, feints, to see what he does. You know, if he's a good fighter, he will react. If he's not gonna react. And even if he doesn't react, then I'll start doing stuff off of that. I'll feint. If he doesn't react, I'll come in with a hook, cross hook. And if he does react, I'll just see where his hands go, or if he comes back and then I'll counter off that, you know. So basically, it's just this movement right here. Boom. See, he jabs, cross hook. I feint, he jabs, cross hook right over. Okay? I'll wait, I'll see what he does again this time. I feint, right hand, hook, cross hook. Okay, again. Hook, cross hook. Okay? So pretty much that's what I like to do is feints and get my opponent thinking, so you know he gets flustered and trying to come at me and he gets out of his game.
The right kick is good to throw against the southpaw. So you can throw it to the inside, you can throw it to the head, you can throw it to the body. The right kick is going to be there a lot of times against the southpaw. So anytime you've been throwing the kick and he knows it's coming, so next time you're feinting the kick and instead you do a kind of Superman's punch, because a lot of times when you think the kick will be coming, he'll take his hands down to block the kick, but instead fake and throw a Superman punch. So a lot of times he'll put his hands down to block it and he'll leave his chin open. Clip him there. So, but you got to set it up first, throw a couple of kicks. So he thinks it's coming, he puts his hands down and you throw the right instead. And as you do it, you kind of jerk, you put your hip forward and you kind of jerk opposite direction. Hip forward, jerk.
It's all strategy. I mean, once you get to the top elite level of fighting, when everybody's the best and everybody's, you know, the top 10 in the world, this is what's the stuff that works. You know, this is intelligent striking. This is how you get off in the fights. Everybody knows a 1-2, a 1-2-3. Now it's how you're going to set it up to land those strikes. Timing is like, you know, like setting a guy up, you know, to land that perfect shot is, you know, using your footwork, you know. So I'll step in and I'll hit him and take a half a step back. He'll take a half a step in and I'll hit him again. And, you know, as he's coming in, I'll hit him. And, you know, that's like his force of him coming in and him meeting my hand. You know, that's knockout, man. That's like a head-on collision.
It's like do a switch kick and then hit wham! That's what I want is the cross. So you kick, switch kick, and fall forward. Boom! Yeah, because they're standing. You know what I mean? That puts your foot right, bam, right there. Switch kick, boom! And even if they block, so what? Boom into that cross. That's what you want is that cross.
Yeah, same in my last match with Jardine, because I'm waiting. I know he's going to kick my legs, and I'm waiting for the kicks. And sometimes together he kick me, I put the punch together and he down. And after this, I put another punch. But after this, they finish the match. So you need to give the punch fast for you put the good shot.
But everybody has a rhythm. You have to almost be, the more you spar different styles and different guys in different training camps, the more you get to see what the human body is capable of. So if I come from a very hard karate stance with deep stances and straight punches, I got to fight that guy. So I should spar someone like that, see how that is. Then I get the timing for what his discipline offers. So how does he set up his punches? How does he set up his kicks? Within that combination, there's times where I can disrupt his rhythm. When you disrupt someone's rhythm, they can't finish the move. So if I'm doing 3 punches and 1 low kick, okay? I go 1, 2, 3, low kick. Now, if I study that and I know that combo because someone does it to me all the time, now 1, 2, 3, and then I come with a straight right at the same time you try to throw your kick, I disrupted your timing, you're off balance because you're not expecting it.
Some things we work on here a lot in the boxing gym is to change your speed. You know, start off at a certain tempo and all of a sudden change that tempo up. You know, it's a way to get punches to land quicker, harder, or again, when it's not expected. Another thing I'll do in order to get is, you know, in MMA especially, but you see this defense that comes here. You know, if I'm throwing right hand, left hand, they're blocking and timing, blocking and timing. If I go right hand, left hand, right hand, all of a sudden they're going to block here but getting hit here. You know, so that's a way where you can create the openings.
Well, you throw things off rhythm sometimes. You know, sometimes, like if I was speaking about it earlier, I like you know, when I first start to fight, my first punch when I'm sparring or anything, you know, is going to be you know, if I throw my left hand, you know, from a southpaw stance, it's always going to be straight. It's the safest punch I can throw. If I throw a jab, you know, I'm going to throw a straight punch and I'm going to hide my tempo, boom, boom, you know, that's my shot, you know. If you block it the first couple times, during the fight, I make adjustments. I go, okay, you know, this guy's fighting me and he's keeping his stance right here. Every time I fire off my straight left, he's blocking. So now I'll go jab and I'll start to turn a straight left, but now my elbow comes out. So when I throw my elbow out, I can turn my thumb down. So if you go just to pat my hand down, I come over the top and catch you. And that's how you change combinations. One combination goes boom, boom, boom. Oh, you blocked that? Fine. Boom, boom. And also, too, the stuttering, I do that a lot of times. Within a combination, you know, I'll go to throw a punch. So if I go jab, roundhouse, very basic Muay Thai, you know what I mean? I'm sitting there, boom, boom, and I fire my roundhouse and you just check it, right? Well, maybe on a couple times later, I'll go jab and I'll skip step a little bit. So I'm here, boom, and then I'll throw my roundhouse so that all of a sudden you're used to always going boom. And then by the time now the kick really comes, because it's off rhythm, you've put your foot down. So you're used to going parry, shin block. So now you go parry, shin block, no kick comes because I delayed it, and now it's coming as you're putting your foot down. You land, boom, and I slam you across the sciatic nerve as hard as I can. That helps out. And those are just from sparring a lot, making those adjustments. Oh, this is nothing straight out of the box works. You got to sometimes, okay, you know, basic way, I guess you're going to take another step further, your jab. If every time I throw a jab, you know, I always push off my left foot, boom, and I step down, snap, you know, bam, bam. If a guy's really good at blocking my jab, well, sometimes I'll start doing this, just to push off, and I'll step, and nothing will come, and then I'll throw, you know, just so I can get the guy a little off rhythm, and that's the whole mindset behind it. I don't want you just to be able to, you see me move, you pick up my timing, and you can, without worrying about my strike, be thinking about other shit, and you can just block my jab, slap it down, you know, pop, pop. So now all of a sudden it's boom, you know, boom, boom. So now because that stuttering off rhythm movement, I'm causing a simple move, just the jab, become that much more harder to defend against, because now you just can't turn your brain off and sit there and go, okay, I'm going to pat this down and I'm looking for this. Now it's like, no, I got to stay awake. That way, what I call it keeping someone honest. Because now they're being honest. Are you really seeing my jab, or you just got my timing down? So if I feel if a guy has my timing, you know, obviously this is the fastest way to do it, but sometimes I'll like, boom, and then throw, you know. This we get our feints and our fakes and our, you know, herky-jerky type movements.
Então, olha só, é treino. Eu procuro filmar todos os meus treinos de sparring, meus treinos técnicos, e aí, em cima disso, que eu procuro melhorar e corrigir o que a gente pode usar como um bom ataque.
Now I have access of the tapes of my opponents, and if possible I studied the styles, but I'm studying, but I look in the way in the match. You know, it's hard because you know, see the guy going to come crazy to beat you, or you going to beat the guy. Sometimes you have the strategic, but I have my strategic in the match. I put my plan is to beat the plan of my opponent.
Bam, like that. To make sure, like what I do is, try to hit him with the uppercut.
Yeah.
A lot of people just try to pull, but then they know what you're doing. Hit him with the uppercut and hook like this.
Yeah.
Hand like this. Then when they try to pull their hand out, even if they pull it that way.
Yeah.
Bang!
Are you showing them something you can do with the hook?
Yeah, with the hook.
You can search for it. You can, what things you can look for is, hitting some people in certain places and seeing their knees kind of quaking a little bit, or them lose their footing. that's usually a sign that you've shook them up a little bit, or that they get a little. You may have rocked them, and or shaking their head, or if you see their eyes kind of open up wide, usually that's they're trying to. It means their vision's blurry, and they're trying to readjust their their line of sight. So those are some of the signs. So usually that stuff comes like I was saying from hitting somebody in that sweet spot. That's going to knock them out, just not quite hard enough to do it. So if you see, if you hit somebody in the chin and you see their knees shake a little bit, maybe next time you hit them in the chin, put a little more pop on it, and then hopefully it'll get the job done.
Yeah. Sometimes I watch the way to give the knockout. I look and see the guy close the eyes or down the guard, or in the match I look in the way for to beat my opponent.
As técnicas que a gente treina todo dia e na luta você monta uma estratégia, mas de acordo com o que ela vai se desenrolando você tem que mudar. Então é o poder de adaptação que cada lutador tem. Eu acho que isso é importante. E eu acho que o nocaute é uma coisa que eu particularmente nunca procurei o nocaute. Eu acho que as coisas aconteceram naturalmente. Eu procuro usar a minha técnica para confundir os meus adversários e fazer com que eles cometam mais erros possíveis, né?
So I train hard to input my punch and give the knockout. It's very hard to input one punch and give it the knockout. Sometimes you in the match you give you one, and the guy in another, and another, and another, and after this the guys no have a good condition. It's more easy for you input the punch to give the knockout. It's a long way. Sometimes a long way in the first round, the second round, you input the knockout after 2 or 3 rounds. But sometimes it's possible you put one punch and the guy down, which is more hard.
Mas eu acho que contra o Carlos Newton foi muito boa, assim, foi um nocaute assim que mais marcou assim na minha carreira toda, porque assim eu tinha estudado aquele nocaute quer dizer, eu tinha estudado aquele golpe para poder aplicar nele em determinado momento na luta e acabou funcionando. E foi legal também.
When you're talking about knocking people out, whether it be body shots, having the brain bounce off the skull, there's always a certain technique or a way to hit that's going to be more effective than other ways. First being, if you're going to attack the body, generally the best way to go for is either a strike to the solar plexus area that will knock the wind out of them, or if you take a liver shot with either the fist or with the kick and you strike to the liver, which is a single organ that filters all of our systems. So when it's hit, the person will overload in that area, it starts to swell, and the person can't continue just due to excessive pain. And again, that's from a good liver shot, just finding the right angle, getting underneath those ribs and getting through to the organ. The solar plexus, like I mentioned first, nice straight area right where the ribs open up and come through, where your sternum is. There's that spot where if you fell out of a tree or off a swing set, you feel that pain in that area. That's your solar plexus area. Next being the brachial plexus, the most common used is the shin kick, it being either a swing kick or a switch kick to the neck, where the most common area of the brachial plexus is. And once that shin hits, because the shin is very sharp, a straight edge and a small striking surface, it's going to make the nervous system shut down quickly, again separating the brain from the rest of the body so the person's still awake. If you take the knockout where the person's head is being jarred, generally a big hooking punch, or even if you watch a lot of mixed martial arts, you see people get picked up either in a high crotch or a double leg takedown, picked up nice and high in the air and slammed. When the body hits and the head continues to roll and slams off of the canvas or the mat, that's when a knockout like that happens, when the brain is being jarred against the skull and then releases and then the person falls asleep. And again, the last one being the nervous system being struck. Your best bet is either a straight punch, and one of the most common if you study striking matches is the back uppercut, because it gets underneath the chin and it strikes those nerve endings that overload and shut down. So straight punches, uppercuts, or hooks are your best target when you're going after that nervous system right along the skull line.
I think just the mechanics and coordination of it, it's something that's totally new to me. I started this process as I transitioned from international and national wrestling to MMA, and I've never done any boxing, never done any kickboxing or any kind of striking competitive sports. I've always been a wrestler. So I think there's finding some of the similarities and mechanics that fit from wrestling, but also I think learning and keeping an open mind and being willing to drill and train and hit a lot of mitts and learn combinations and coordinate, again, throwing a proper punch from your feet, your toes on the mat, all the way up through your hips to the end of those punches, moving and all that muscle coordination and creating that muscle memory so that you can do that in real time against a resisting, reacting opponent. That's just something that's taken a lot of time and a lot of effort to refine and get better and better and better at. So it didn't have to think about it anymore. So again, it just responded.
You need to know what's the punch. So the guy give you the punch, or the guy give you the kicks, or the guy give you the takedown. You need to look in where you're going. Since you're going to defense the takedown to come back with the punch, or you're going to kick, or you need to know what way you're going for the opponent. But for this, you need to have all techniques.
I told myself when I got into the fight I wanted to be a hard puncher. I wanted to punch hard. I wanted to knock people out. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a knockout puncher, and I hit the heavy bag, and the heaviest bag I could find, and I hit it hard, and I hit it for rounds, and I blasted it. You know, I sat down on my punches and whacked it. And I think that it built me up to where I can punch hard. You know, if you do anything repetitive enough, it's gonna pay off. Your body's gonna adapt to it and change physically. You know, whatever it is. If you do it enough, you're gonna get better at it. You know.
Great way to knock somebody out is to be able to knock them out so that they can still see you. They're still aware, but their body won't allow them to stand. They won't allow them to keep their legs straight and continue to fight. The way we do that is a liver shot. Setting up that liver shot, though, is very important, because when you attack the body and the liver is on this side of me, you're exposing your head to be struck and to be knocked out yourself, just by me turning my left hook over to the back of the ear, okay, just behind the ear, soft point, it's going to knock somebody out quick. So it's very important that Chris leads. He's going to lead with a combo 1-2 here with that jab cross. Again, it's going to make me put weight on my front leg, cover up with both hands so I'm protecting the front part of my face, and exposes my liver. From here, he's just going to lean outside, rotate, lift, and he's going to corkscrew his punch up and through my liver to my shoulder. What that does is it causes my liver to expand and fill with fluids, and causes me to be able to drop to my knee, or to have to drop to my knee and not continue to fight. Very important when you hit this to corkscrew up and through, because he wants to get right underneath that lower, that floating rib. Again, corkscrew up to my shoulder. What that does is it makes him get to my liver.
Well, I'm just getting into that. Body shots, they seem fun, you know. Would I rather be KO'd or dropped? You know, those body shots, like, you're awake and you know what's going on and you're in serious pain if you get hit. There's no stopping that. Like, there's no stopping that. You can have a great chin, and you can take punch after punch on your chin, but you get hit with a perfectly placed body, oh, you're done, you know? You can't recover. You know, your body's just screwed up, you can't feel your legs, you can't walk. I remember De La Hoya.
he got dropped, you know, and he was paralyzed, you know. That body shot hurt him, you know. So I love that now. I go to the body all the time. I try to, you know. I want to learn that because, you know, there's a lot of guys who have good chins, you know, and go to the body, slow them down a little bit, and then you place it nice, they're done. You know, I'd rather have that any day of the week. Because then you watch a guy just on the canvas in pain, awake, knowing like there's no way he could fight anymore.
All right, this is a body shot that I like to do. The key is get his hands up, and then you can get it real nice. Boom. I like to hit right in this area here. I like the jab. The jab comes. I act as if I'm going up at the head, and it just comes down. Boom. And then the other one, keep your hands up, obviously, is going to come right at this area here. You're going to change off. Use your hips to drive in and up. So here, bang, this hand comes up, okay? And then straight, up top, and then out. So jab, he thinks the right's coming, but as that's going, you're just going to use your hips, come up, hand comes back to your head, here, and then the other one's going to come, turn your hips, rotate, real short, boom, in, and then if you can, come out, boom, straight. That's pretty much one I like to do. The key is get them hands up, you know, jab.